Another day of wet and windy weather across the UK, and the outlook remains unsettled. I'll have all the details with us and more coming up from Good Morning Britain.
Tuesday.
Fish. Don't do a Michael Fish.
We're at that time in the hurricane season where things are really ramping up. And actually, it was over the weekend, it was Hurricane Lee that slammed into Nova Scotia and it left hundreds of thousands of people without power. It is now zipping across the Atlantic and it has its sights set on us. So this huge arc of cloud here are the remnants of ex-Hurricane Lee. Now that it moves into cooler waters, it becomes extra-tropical. Hurricanes are warm-caused storms. And this is going to be picked up by a really powerful jet stream, zip across the Atlantic today and bring us wet and windy conditions as we head through the day today. So warnings for heavy rain later on today for parts of Northern Ireland and parts of Wales. Here's the all-important details. Good morning to you. Now, the Atlantic hurricane season has been ramping up lately, and across the other side of the Atlantic, we have Hurricane Lee. Now, it's this huge area of cloud that is heading towards the UK, and it will bring with it some very wet and windy weather overnight tonight. By the time it gets to us, it won't be a hurricane anymore. They're warm-caused storms, and it's moving over to cooler waters, but it will draw up warm air, and it will bring with it a lot of rain for northwestern parts of England and across Wales. So wet and windy, the name of the game, but there actually would be some sunshine around as well. Here's the precursor to this, a band of rain ahead of that. So already wet through southern Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland, northern areas of England and Wales. And now that rain has set in, there is a warning enforced for these northwestern areas until 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, up to 200 millimetres of rain. And that brings the risk of localised flooding. Northern areas, north of Scotland and Northern Isles, sunny spells and a few showers, but cool here. To the south of that, sunny spells and a few showers and cooler than yesterday, but blustery winds around these coasts. 40-mile-an-hour gusts of wind, so feeling disappointingly cool. And actually things, as we head through the next 7 days, stay unsettled. So low pressures continue to bring weather systems across the Atlantic. As we head through the weekend, we bring yet the remnants of another hurricane across our shores, bringing with it warmer air, humidity, and the risk of more wet and windy weather. First of all, our temperature-wise sitting around average, but percentage chance of rainfall, heavy rain across the north today, is hit and miss showers as we head towards the end of the week. Saturday, a bit of a breather before we see wet weather return on Sunday. Fortunes further south for England and Wales for the next 7 days. Again, first of all, looking at our temperatures. Now, they're sitting around about average, perhaps turning a little bit milder as we head through to next week. Percentage chance of rainfall, well, we have this band of rain moving through today and tomorrow. It stays pretty wet as we head through the rest of the week. Again, Saturday is your banker for a good day to be outdoors. Sunday looks like that wet and windy weather looks set to return. Good morning to you. And the weather is set to turn wet and windy. Why? We look all the way to the other side of the Atlantic. This is ex-Hurricane Lee. It's a hurricane that hit Nova Scotia, left hundreds of thousands without power. It's now being picked up by a very powerful jet stream and driving across the Atlantic. And this low pressure is set to arrive later on today, overnight tonight, bringing with it wet and windy weather. So not a hurricane heading to the UK. They're warm-caused storms. It turns over cooler waters, which means that it's a cooler system, but it's the remnants of a hurricane that will bring the wet and windy weather through the next 24 hours. And today, we will have some brightness, but it will be fairly limited. Here's the very cloudy scene greeting us this morning, and already a wet scene. This is not yet the remnants of our hurricane. This is a precursor to that. So wet weather for northern England, North Wales and North Midlands. A warning from the Met Office until tomorrow evening for 200 millimetres of rain. To the north of it, sunny spells and a few showers. The central slice stays cloudy and wet, windy through southern areas with limited brightness and highs of just 20.